I'm Charlotte Hauser and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the very first video I've ever done on YouTube, so I thought it might be nice to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about me before we get started. So as I said, my name is Charlotte and I'm 18 years old and I live in Ohio. And the reason why I wanted to do this YouTube channel is I love creative projects of almost any kind. So that includes drawing, painting, writing, sewing, random craft projects, you name it. And I wanted to share my various crazy projects with you guys and also inspire you to do your own creative projects and have fun being imaginative. So that's kind of the reason why I wanted to do this. If you guys have any advice or inspiration for me in the comments down below, I'm sure I would really appreciate it and I'm sure it'd be very helpful. So that's a little bit about me and what I want to do here. So now let's get into the first project. The first project I want to do is a 19th century dress. I've actually already sewed the whole thing, but I've now filmed it and it's ready for you guys to see as well. So I had a ton of fun with this project. I really hope you guys will enjoy seeing it as well. So a little bit about how I got to sewing this dress. I just went online and on Pinterest and found some really cool old photographs of ladies in gorgeous dresses, and I thought, I want to make one of these. So my parents were really sweet and they got me fabric for my birthday, which was really nice and also made it a little scary because I didn't want to ruin the fabric, but it was really nice and I've just enjoyed this project immensely. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it, and here we go. So here's the fabric I'm planning on using for the lining. Kind of needs iron there, but we'll get to that. But it isn't actually lining fabric. It's more like a satin, I believe. And I was going to go for lining, but the satin was like exactly the same price and there were more color options, and so I thought, why not? We're going to do satin. So that's the lining. Now we have the outer dress, which I'm not sure how well you can see it on camera, but it is like blue threads woven with yellow, so it creates kind of a green. It's really beautiful, and it's double-sided and everything. I think it was made in India, and I believe it's 100% cotton. So anyway, this is what we're working with. So before we actually dive into cutting anything, I thought I would tell you about the pattern I'm using. So I'm not actually using a bottom pattern, which is probably crazy, but I am scared of patterns kind of, and I kind of like to come up with my own. So anyway, I did come up with a pattern basically by doing a mock-up. So I've got all these pieces here. I actually just cut out an old pillowcase, which happened to be just enough fabric. It was great. So here is the back piece. And then I've got two sides to the front. And so they'll lay something like that, and then the other side will mirror it. So anyway, that's what I've got. I didn't do much filming of me doing the mock-up and figuring out my pattern because it was a lot of sewing and ripping out and adjusting and pinning and all kinds of things that would have been a bit arduous to film and probably arduous to watch as well. So I didn't really film much. Maybe I can do some video on that in the future if you guys are interested in how I came up with my pattern. But anyway, this is what we've got, and I'm really excited to start cutting things out. went ahead and on the piece that will be the front right bodice piece, I went ahead and added a couple inches of material to the front closure just to give me a little bit more wiggle room with making sure there's enough fabric for the buttonhole button situation that's going to be in the front, making the closure. It's just nice to have a little more wiggle room so that I don't find myself with no fabric to work with. So that's what I'm doing here. So it's a little hard to see, but I just put a few dots there just to show me where to cut. So it turns out I made a little bit of a mistake. I got a little confused with the lining because you basically want the lining cut out the opposite way, and because it's going to be flipped around so that the knife side is on the inside rather than facing out because it's lining. And so I took this pretty silk fabric and I accidentally cut them out backwards so that the not so shiny silky part is the part that's going to be seen on the inside as the lining, which is annoying. I'm almost wondering if I want the less shiny, less fancy looking part to be facing on the inside so it doesn't look quite so evening gownish, but a little bit more, I guess, everyday and simple, because I was a little worried that it was too fancy to put on the inside of a day dress for a little bit more of a middle class person. So I think I'm actually going to go with it. It was kind of a mistake, but I think it actually fits with what I want. So we're just going to go with it. But yeah. Now I'm working on the two halves of the front of the bodice, and I just pinned the lining layer and the outer layer together so that they won't move. And now I'm also working on pinning the front darts that are going to be on either side. I also wanted to show you something that I'm doing because I noticed in a little bit of research I was doing in the historical dresses, there was usually some sort of pucker right under the arm. So this is the arm here, and then like under the arms, extending up towards the shoulder, there was a pucker. Now in my mock-ups, I was coming up with that as well because I was trying to follow generally the way they cut the bodice, and I was coming up with puckers, but they were kind of unwieldy puckers where they kind of would go all over the place, where I noticed in the photographs, the historical photographs, they looked a lot more neat and like in one place. So I'm trying to replicate that by creating a little pinned area here where I just folded it over, and I'm going to do it on this side now. And hopefully, we'll see how it turns out, but it worked in the mock-ups. Hopefully it will make this just look a little more neat and intentional like the photographs. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin the other side, and then we can start working on sewing these shut. of annoying, but I really wanted to get this filmed tonight because I'm excited. So I've got it sewed up the sides and the shoulders, so it's all one piece now. And obviously the closure is just pinned shut, and that's the next thing that I'm going to work on. So I'm pretty happy with how it's fitting. It's fitting pretty nice and snug, pretty smooth. I've got some pins holding it down right now, but I assume that the skirt is going to help keep everything smooth and laid out there. So my one critique is that there's a little bit of extra room back here right now. So I'm going to have to do a little tweaking there and figure out what to do with that extra fabric so that it lays a little smoother back there. But otherwise, I'm really excited. It looks great, I think. And so, yeah, it'll be fun to see what it looks like when I actually put a skirt and sleeves on it and a collar and buttons. It's going to be, ow. Pins are annoying sometimes. So here, as you can see, I've marked out where I'm going to put the buttonholes, and this is washable temporary marker. So next I'm going to cut those and start stitching them. I'm so excited! So here I have one of the sleeve pieces. I have them both cut out. So now all I need to do is pleat the top, and then I will pleat the bottom. So here we are, all pleated up. I did actually already sew all the pleats and everything once in one of the sleeves, but once I got it all put together, it was really, really big. Like, not too long, but tons of fabric, so it was super puffy, and that wasn't quite what I was looking for. So I ripped all that out, took about 5 inches off of the side, and then repinned it, and now I'm just going to sew this second sleeve up. So after sewing down the gathers on the sleeves, I then took a good-sized rectangle, measured out about 1 inch on either side, and then flipped that over and ironed it down nice and smooth. That will be the cuff, super simple and easy, and I will just sew that onto the edge of the sleeve. Now that that's all sewed on, I can finish the edges of the opening in the sleeve where I can get it on and then button it shut. So I'll finish that, then I just sew a button on and sew a buttonhole on the opposite side so that it can close nicely. So here are both sleeves basically done. I'd say 95% done maybe. I've got the cuffs and the buttons all done. And the one thing I'm a little disappointed about is because there's so much bulk here, it's really thick, that I really couldn't put a buttonhole here. So it has a tendency to kind of rotate open a little bit. So maybe later I'll put a snap down underneath here or something, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But other than that, they're basically done, and I'm ready to put them into the bodice. Here we are, all done. Got the bodice, sleeves. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. Obviously I don't have the collar done because that's going to be in the next video when I do the skirt. But other than that, it's basically done. I'm going to just neaten up some of the raw edges inside, but that wouldn't be very interesting to watch probably. So that won't be in this video, but other than that, it's done, and I'm really, really excited. So yeah, I worked on the back a little bit since it was a little roomy, if you remember, and so I just added some seams here. I did a little bit of cording, and it's still a little bit of roomy, and there's a little bit of bubbles, but I think those are going to get fixed or at least much improved when I actually put the skirt on and it holds it all down. So I think that's going to be fine. We'll see how it all works. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, just give me a comment below or something, and hopefully I'll be back with more project videos in the future. As I said, I'm going to do the skirt and the collar and all the finishing in the next video. So stay tuned for that, and hopefully that will be out soon. So thank you so much for watching again, and I hope you have a great day.